We talked about EpiPens yesterday. This is just some follow-up information. This is from Dr. James R. Baker, the CEO of the Food Allergy Research and Education Foundation. He said, I regularly write notes to the families of children who have died from anaphylaxis after inadvertently eating peanuts. One death is too many. This is the EpiPens things where Heather, what's her name, the Joe Manchin's daughter, excuse me, was the lobbyist for this group back in 2002, 2003, when she helped successfully lobby for Medicare Part D to have to pay full price for prescriptions, which is still the law. And now she's the CEO. Her pay went from $2 million a year to $18 million a year, as the price of EpiPens went from, $50 to $600 or whatever in that neighborhood. And there are over 15 million Americans with allergies severe enough that they may require medication. And according to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control, food allergies, this doesn't include bee stings and things, which is what happened to us. I mean, one of our kids is so allergic to bee stings that for years she had to carry an EpiPen. And this was, she's in her 30s now. This was 20 years ago that Louise and I were concerned about that. Her mom and I, Louise and I were concerned about this. According to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control, food allergies are responsible for more than 300,000 ambulatory care visits a year in children under 18. 300,000, essentially hospitalizations, kids showing up at the ER. It's amazing. So I think that probably children are dying right now because this CEO and her board and her senior executives, who are all very, very well compensated, and inverted their company to reincorporate it in the Netherlands to avoid paying U.S. taxes, are charging $600 for 2 EpiPens when the technology, the injection technology, was developed by DARPA. You and I paid to develop that technology. And the drug itself was invented in 1899. Not 1998, 1899. 1898, whichever, before the 20th century, right? It was developed in the 19th century, in the 1800s. Anyhow, this is, in the purview of, the abuse of American citizens by private for-profit corporations. Obviously, Mylan Pharmaceuticals and Heather, what's her name, up at the top of the list, even though they're officially a Dutch company, but they don't, I don't think any of them moved to Holland. I think that they all live here and they run their, but in any case, here's another one. This is the Correction Corporations of America, our privatized prison, I believe they're the largest of our privatized prison companies. And they are trying to seal, this from Victoria Jones's newsletter today, they're trying to seal from public view documents in a lawsuit that claim female visitors to a Tennessee prison were forced to undergo strip searches to prove that they were menstruating. 3 women have accused the company of violating their rights by forcing them to expose their genitals to guards after they tried to bring sanitary pads or tampons into the South Central Correctional Facility about 85 miles southwest of Nashville. One woman said her 3 children had to witness the search. The company is doing everything it can to seal these documents so it doesn't get out right. Private corporations taking care of our prisoners. Is your toothpaste dangerous to your health? This is a fascinating piece that's over by Larry Schwartz wrote it. It's over at Alternet. And, I believe that we talked earlier in the week. If we didn't, I certainly intended to, or it might have been on the TV show, about how in pretty much every other developed country in the world, anything that might get into your bloodstream is regulated. In other words, the company that manufactures it has to demonstrate that it's safe before they can sell it to you. Here in the United States, we have a very narrow definition of anything that can get into your bloodstream. It's what you eat or drink. So the FDA and the USDA have kind of overlapping, oversight on what we eat and drink, but not on what we smoke. That's been specifically excluded. And not on what we put on our skin or what we put in our mouths but are not supposed to swallow. And now we've got this Wen Pharmaceuticals, which I believe is a Chinese manufacturer of hair products that's causing people's hair to fall out. And to the best of my knowledge, nobody has yet identified the specific poison or whatever it is that's in this stuff. But it turns out the FDA has no ability to regulate these things. There's thousands and thousands of chemicals in the shampoo we put on our hair and the toothpaste we put in our mouth. The article here is titled, "Is Toothpaste Dangerous to Your Health?" A new study says yes. They say the average American will use 20 gallons of toothpaste in their lifetime. This is a new study by the Cornucopia Institute, nonprofit organization that looks into best practices in an ecological context. Chemicals in toothpaste are readily absorbed through the membrane that lines your mouth. It's called the oral mucosa, meaning that regardless of whether you swallow toothpaste or not, you're exposing yourself to some level of absorption. And children who do frequently swallow toothpaste are even at greater risk. And then, of course, the stuff we put on our skin. I'll tell you, I learned. Geez, I'm trying to think when it was. It was when we lived in Vermont. It was in the 1990s, mid-1990s. I learned that the bacteria in our mouth that causes tooth decay, it's called Streptococcus mutans, that bacteria is killed on contact by a very simple sugar. I believe it's a monosaccharide. It might be a disaccharide, but it's called xylitol, Xylitol. And xylitol is not harmful to people. It is, it's a sugar. It's actually an alcohol, and it has to be metabolized by your liver. I mean, if you consumed huge quantities of it, it wouldn't be good for you. But in small quantities, it's just, it's no big deal. And so I bought a pound of powdered xylitol, which comes looking just like cocaine. And I would just dip my toothbrush in the xylitol and brush my teeth with that because, it kills the Streptococcus mutans, but it doesn't have all these weird chemicals in it. I've been doing that for years. There's a company that makes xylitol-infused disposable toothbrushes. I travel with those. I have some over at the TV studio. I use them before I go on the air. But I have not used toothpaste in years since I became aware of this stuff. And, now people are revisiting it. There are over 12,000 ingredients used in our cosmetics, writes Larry Schwartz. Most with chemical names unintelligible to the average consumer, and only 11 of them are restricted for use in the U.S. In contrast, over 1,300 of these ingredients are banned in Europe. The industry, this is the toothpaste and cosmetics industry, in fact, reformulates its products for sale abroad, substituting banned ingredients, the things that are banned there, with other things. So, Dianne Feinstein and Susan Collins, respectively, of California and Maine, Democrat, Republican, introduced the Personal Care Product Safety Act of 2015, which would mandate the FDA start actually regulating the stuff that we put on our body and in our mouth. And, of course, the Republicans shot it down. Didn't happen. So, and they say an average woman uses up to 12 products containing up to 168 chemicals. A teenage girl can use up to 17 products with over 200 chemicals. That's a lot of exposure to ingredients that may be toxic. They go through the list of these things. One of the compound that makes toothpaste foam, for example, is diethanolamine. It has been shown to cause eye and skin irritation, and worse, it's been linked in mice to liver cancer. It also reacts with other compounds not present in toothpaste to form nitrosamines, another known carcinogen. Formaldehyde-releasing preservatives. It's amazing. GMO-based ingredients. Parabens are also work. They're in a lot of fragrance formulas. They work as endocrine disruptors. The cologne you're putting on, the deodorant, it all may be stuff that is really messing with you.